Is it better to be good or lucky? This is an interesting subject. Appreciate the request. I might just end up rambling a little bit, so you've been warned. But it kind of relates to that video I made a little while ago about what Anthony Mackie said about, people in Hollywood, getting lucky, like we're doing disservice to our kids by telling them you need to be good when really it is you just get lucky. I think it kind of relates to that a little bit, but maybe on a more kind of broader way of looking at things. Is it better to be lucky or is it better to be good? Because you can be the absolute best at a thing. Like you can be undoubtedly the absolute best at a thing. But if you are just unlucky, no matter how good you are, it probably is not going to work out for you because you can't control everything. You could only control your own output, like what you do. You could control where you go. You could control what you choose to read, what you choose to learn, what you choose to practice, what you choose to get good at. You could control all that. You could control whether you choose to speak to this person or speak to that person, to present yourself this way, present yourself that way. You could control whether you make videos or not, whether you get a job, whether you do this, whether you do that, and try to put yourself on these different places. You could control how you promote yourself, right? Or at least to some degree, money permitting, right? But you could control if you do that or not. But none of that can mean anything at all if for whatever reason it just doesn't happen. If you're just that unlucky where it just doesn't happen, because there are no guarantees in life. So imagine going through all that schooling, all that training, everything. And then for whatever reason, for something just outside of your control, it just doesn't work. That sucks. And then you got somebody who is lucky. They're not really good at anything. They're just lucky. For whatever reason, they don't even know themselves. They're just lucky, right? Things just happen for them. They're just lucky. They go somewhere and good things happen to them. They get promoted. They don't do anything to get promoted. They're just lucky, or they get put in a movie and they become a star in a movie. They're not good at acting. They're just lucky. And even though they're not good at acting, for whatever reason, people just seem to like them because they're just lucky. They get put in more movies. They get millions and millions and millions per movie, and they're not even that good. They're just lucky. They're not even trying. They're not even trying. They're not even working hard at it. They're just lucky. Things just come to them. They're not going out of their way to do anything. They're just lucky. Now, is that better or is it better to be good? And that's a tough one, because on the surface of it, I think it's going to seem like it's better to be lucky, because then you'd have things come to you. You don't have to work hard. You just get it. You got your money. You got your this. You got your that. You got a good life and you're just lucky. But when I think about it, I think even though being unlucky sucks, ultimately I think it's better to be good at something, even if it means that you don't get all these, accolades and promotions, or put in movies or music videos, or you don't get the fame, you don't get the money, you don't get whatever it is that comes with it, the social status, the professional status. You don't get anything that comes with the luck side of it. You're just good at what you do, and that's all it is. But for whatever reason, nothing happens from that. No matter how hard you try, nothing happens from that. Ultimately, I think it's better to be good at something. I'm going to try and explain why. Because I think when it comes to, and by the way, I guess I should probably preface this by saying that I'm speaking more from perspective of somebody who sees themselves as creative. And from that perspective, I look at things like what you can pass on, because art, culture, society, all these things need to continue long after, we're dead and gone, right? But somehow what you do as an artist, as a creative, as anything you contribute to society needs to be passed on. And you can't pass on luck. You know what I mean? You can't pass on luck. So if you're just lucky, it ends with you, because once you're dead, it stops, and you can't give that to anybody. You can't teach somebody how to do something that you yourself don't know how to do. You can't teach somebody how to create or how to work at something or how to contribute, because you never did that. You just got lucky. So whatever you had, whatever gave you that luck, that ends with you. Whereas if you're good at something, even if you never get anywhere with it, you can pass that on. You can teach that to somebody. You can mentor somebody. You can help somebody. It goes on beyond you. Whether it is you help, some kid that's struggling, or indeed your own children if you got kids. But you could, or it doesn't have to be kids. It could be another adults that you might be able to help, or somebody that you might be able to pass on some advice to. Even though you didn't make it big, you just know what you can say to a person because you've worked at it. You know, that you can pass on, and they can then pass that on, and whoever they pass it on to can pass it on, but it can live beyond you. Being good at something, having a skill, having a knowledge, having any kind of real experience of a thing can be passed on. Whereas if you're just lucky, once you're gone, it's gone. And maybe somebody else gets lucky, maybe they don't, but you can't pass that on. You can't give that to somebody because ultimately you have nothing to give if you're just lucky. So yeah, I do feel like in the grand scheme of things, it's better to be good at something. Now, that being said, ain't nobody trying to struggle their whole life, right? We'd like to have a little something before we depart this earth. So I guess in truth, it's better to have a little bit of both. Or in the immediate time, it's better to have a little bit of both, where you can be good at something and maybe get a little bit lucky with it as well. So I think that's the ideal scenario for most people, to have that preparation and to maybe have that bit of luck. Because there's always going to be things you can't control. No matter how good you are, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work at something, there's always going to be something you can't control. And in that area of the things you can't control is where luck lives, right? And if that luck never comes to you, it just sucks. But at least you can pass it on. But if that luck does come to you and you're prepared, then you could do something with it. You know, but if you're just super lucky where you're not even prepared, you know, you have nothing, absolutely nothing, but for whatever reason, somebody just says, I don't care that you suck at this. I don't care that you know nothing about it. I want you. And hey, it is what it is. It is what it is, but you can't pass that on. You can't pass that on. So yeah, be good at something if you can be good at something. Things that you're passionate about, things that are important to you, try to be as good as you can get out of it. And hopefully some luck comes your way with that. But regardless of whether any luck comes your way or not, at least you have something that you can pass on to, whether it's the next generation or to somebody else who might need that help or that advice or whatever it may be. You got something that you can give and you're able to contribute that to the world other than just saying, I just got lucky. But anyway, is it better to be good or is it better to be lucky? Let me know what you think. Peace.